Hello, my name is Carlos Peregrina, and our group presented Union County Inland Port Proposal. It's prepared by Allison Reynolds, Alyssa Salmon Adelweiler, Patrick Stanley, Carlos Peregrina, and Cindy Fuentes. To begin, the port proposal overview is the Union County demographics, dry port information, advantages of dry ports, disadvantages of dry ports, benefits to Union County, community objections, historical attempts, strategy for approval and overcoming objections, funding options, cost, references, and port formation processes. This is what we'll cover. To begin with, the Union County demographics was created in 1864. The current population is 25,758. The current median age is currently 39.7 years old. The median household income is $45,564, and the poverty rate is 18.6%. Union County has historically been a rural county with a lower population. When the county was created and split off from Baker County in 1864, there were 2,552 residents that lived there. The most current population count is 25,758, coming from datausa.com. 25,758 is a still very low number compared to Multnomah County, who was last estimated by census.gov to have 799,000 residents. Clackamas County has 401,000 residents, nearly half of Multnomah County, but 15 times as many as Union County. The annual median household income of the county is roughly about $45,564, which tells me why they could use a boost in their economy rate, which is their poverty rate is 18.6%. What is an inland port? A terminal that is connected with other ports to transport goods from one area to another. Types are dry ports, inland marine ports, and seaports. A port is a terminal that is connected with other ports to transport goods from one area to another. The goods can be anything from scrap metal to clothing to consumables. There are a few different types of ports: dry, inland, marine, and seaports. Dry ports are defined as inland terminals that can be interconnected with the seaport via road or rail transportation facilities, and they usually act as centers of multimodal logistics. The port being proposed here today is a dry port in the Union County. So advantages of inland ports: keeps the goods moving, improves efficiency of seaports, improves reach of seaports, encourage trade with other countries, and improved production opportunities for businesses. To begin with, ports can be very helpful for many reasons. They help keep material moving across the world. They also help keep congestion down in the seaports, increase the capacity in the seaports, and reduces congestion within the seaport cities. By bringing a lot of the shipping inland, there's less material bottlenecking in the seaports. The seaports are then able to get the materials and containers more efficiently. Ports of any kind also help encourage trade with other countries. With more ports, materials are able to move along faster, which is more intriguing to those in other countries who are trying to ship their goods to the U.S. or throughout the U.S. Inland ports are typically closer to production sites, which is very useful to the plants who are looking to ship their materials in any direction. One more advantage of inland ports is they improve the seaport's access to areas outside of the traditional reach. Some disadvantages of inland ports: higher prices, congested railways, increase in traffic. With any big project or proposal, there will be some disadvantages. With the increase in traffic around ports, prices may rise. This could possibly be a cause in the issue with the residents of the Union County, as well as the likelihood of an increase in traffic in the cities that the dry ports will be. With an increase in semi-trucks, it is inevitable that the traffic around the port will be more congested than prior to the port being there. Another disadvantage of dry ports is that passenger rail cars take precedence over materials, which means the rails can get more congested in areas that the passenger rail cars travel. I am unsure if there are passenger rail cars in or around the Union County, but if there could cause some congestion on the rail tracks. Some benefits to the Union County within itself: job creation, reduction in use of roads, leading to lower pollution and road repairs, alternative warehousing, new infrastructure, business and the economy of Union County will increase. So obviously more jobs will be created within the Union County. Gas pollution and the road use will be reduced from the availability of the port. Additional facilities will be added for the storage and warehousing alternatives can be offered. New infrastructure will be added to the county. Overall economy will increase in the county. Jobs will be created. Money will be spent on development, and revenue will continue with the operating port. Some community objections are tax increases, traffic increase, cost of living increases. The community of the Union County has already denied a port being built. There are few hesitations to the idea of a port going in, like an increase in taxes from the citizens of the Union County. The increase in traffic may also be a turnoff to most citizens, as well as the likelihood of prices going up in the area of the dry port. Some strategies to overcome these objections: marketing plan to highlight the positive impacts to the community, billboards, brochures, trying to convince the community that a business plan will help them instead of inconvenience them is not that very easy. There are always objections and hesitations to anything new being introduced to a community. Ways to overcome such objections would be to highlight the good in the plan. When highlighting the good of a plan, it may become easier for the objections to fade away into the dark. For example, if billboards or brochures were put up to showcase all the good a dry port could do for the Union County, the citizens may start to see how it can aid them instead of hurt them. Historical attempts on inland ports. In 1995, the Union County Port Proposal. They proposed by the Union County an Economic Development Corp., which is part of the EDC, partly funded by Regional Strategies after feasible study, focused on intermodal transportation and industrial development, and the project area included the Wallowa County. In 1995, they proposed a Union County Port Proposal. The project will be funded regionally through investors and public tax raises. Goal was to develop two different models of transportation by air and ground and industrial development. An area included the Union and the Wallowa County. Unfortunately, this past attempt failed. There were low votes, increase in tax from Union County citizens, deficiency of facilities and surrounding infrastructure, and not campaigned aggressively. This was rejected because the project didn't receive enough votes from the EDC, which is the Economic Development Corporation. The taxes would be increased for the Union County citizens, and they didn't approve. Union County didn't have sufficient infrastructure and facilities in the area, and the plan wasn't campaigned very aggressively enough. So the strategy for port approval is creating a strategic campaign and marketing aggressively, form business outline, job opportunities, marketing, location, and financing, apply for port formation and financing through Oregon IFA. So the tip here is to market more aggressively, more advertisements and awareness in a LeGrand and Union County area to let the citizens know that this is good for them. Create a detailed port outline that describes new jobs that will be created, the industry, and how it will be marketed, the demographics, and how the port will be financed throughout. And then lastly, submit applications through the Oregon Infrastructure Finance Authority. Funding options. There are three different types: the Port Revolving Loan, Port Planning and Marketing Fund Grant, and the Property Tax Levies. There are several options for the funding port. They each have different uses and requirements. To begin with, the Port Revolving Loan Program. Any port incorporated under ORS Chapter 777 or 778 may apply for funding. Each applicant is limited to a total loan amount from this fund of no more than $3 million at any one time. The loan term can be as long as 25 years or the useful life of the project, whichever is left. So the Port Revolving Loan Program is a program to assist Oregon ports in the planning and construction of facilities. Any port incorporated under the ORS Chapter 777 or 778 may apply for the funding. This loan has a budget of $3 million at one time and has a criteria that needs to be met before moving forward in the process, where this loan term can be as long as 25 years or the useful life of the project. This gives the ability to have the loan carry out for however they may need to build and sustain the port. Having this port revolving loan program gives the opportunity to encourage the creation and retention of permanent jobs, which provide a wage appropriate to the skills and experience of the local labor force. This not only encourages the labor force, but also the new leveraging of new private investment in the city in the form of fixed asset and working capital investments. The following are the criteria that must be met and eligible for the funding. The proposed project is feasible and a reasonable risk from practical and economic standpoints. The applicant has received all necessary permits required by federal, state, or local agencies. there is a need for the proposed project, and the applicant's financial resources are adequate to provide the working capital needed to ensure success of the project. The loan has reasonable prospect for repayment. Different uses can be made, such as water-oriented facilities, industrial parks, and airports, and commercial or industrial development projects must be located within the Port District boundaries. The Port Revolving Loan Program application process. Step 1, contact your regional development officer. Step 2, submit the intake form. And Step 3, be awarded. Applicants for the funding through the Port Revolving Fund are accepted year-round. The following outline the application process. Step 1, contact your regional development officer. A project notification and intake form will be needed. Step 2, submit the intake form. The IFA reviews the form to make sure eligibility for the funding program has been met. A financial review will then take place to determine if the applicant has the ability to repay a loan. Step 3, award. A letter will be sent to notify the applicant of the award amount. This loan program would be our best option in pursuing a loan to start building the port in La Grande, Oregon. Following these steps are the only way to be accepted into this loan program. So, Port Planning and Marketing Fund Grant. For use to research, market, and plan for an port. Capped at $50,000 or 75% of the project costs. Funded by interest earned on port revolving loans, Union County meets the grant eligibility requirement of leads to economic diversification, development, or new emerging industry, or redevelopment of existing public facilities. The Port Planning and Marketing Fund Grant is available to Oregon ports as a subsection of the Port Revolving Plan. This grant is used to be specifically for ports to be funded by planning and marketing activities regarding expanding their trade and commerce. It is designed to be used in times where the expansion would help specific important industries in the state, such as agriculture, aviation, transportation, wood products, and tourism, to name a few. This grant would only be available to the Port of Union County after creation for expansion. It is available to any current port incorporated under ORS Chapter 777 or 778. Grant funds are capped at $50,000 or 75% of the total cost project, depending upon what is less. The port is required to cover 25% of the required funds. Lastly is the property tax levies. Would generate funds by adding to current property tax rates. Would assess a dollar amount per thousand assessed value for a specific time frame. And would need to be voter approved. Some of the port cost information. It's been historically determined. Generalized cost associated with a port call. The total port costs account for only a fraction of the total cost associated with the logistics chain. Pricing by ports and operations within ports is historically determined. It is often quite a complex and transparent matter, and such is sometimes perceived as archaic. Pricing by and within ports is an important indicator, certainly with regard to the choice of port. Especially significant in this respect is the generalized cost that is associated with a port call. This generalized cost is defined as the sum of out-of-pocket costs. More information. Overall demand for port services is inelastic. Pricing costs, concepts, and implementations. Unique concepts and how they approach port pricing. Overall demand for port services is inelastic, even though competition between good handlers, port authorities, and regions or counties is quite fierce, especially since no two ports are the same, even though competition between good handlers, port